Meanwhile, this has also been at the forefront globally, the whole issue of what South Korea has done. South Korea has done better than most of the other countries around the world in handling the pandemic. They are now sending 600,000 more COVID-19 test kits to the U.S. today. South Korea's widespread testing has allowed it to become the first country to hold a nationwide election during the pandemic, a possible blueprint for the U.S. in November. What lessons can the U.S. learn from South Korea's approach to the virus? NBC Korean Affairs analyst Victor Cha has some answers. Victor served on the National Security Council, leading all of our government efforts on North and South Korea for years. Victor, good to see you. Let's talk about this election, which apparently was held successfully. We've seen video of people going to the polls, getting their temperatures taken before they can vote. Everyone wearing masks, of course. What can we learn from South Korea and how effectively they broadly tested, and are beginning to reopen?
Well, I think you just said it there, Andrea. I mean, one of the things they did was they did widespread testing. So they've tested 2 to 3 more people per capita in South Korea than they have here in the United States. And they, as you mentioned in your piece, they have a surplus of masks and test kits that they're now exporting abroad because they've met all the domestic demand. And they never really had to lock down and shut down like we're doing now because they moved fairly early. Basically, right after the crisis, almost right after the crisis, they declared a national emergency about a month before the United States did. And then within 2 weeks of their first case, they discovered their first case within a day of the United States discovering their first case. Within 2 weeks, they were rolling test kits off the production line. And within 3 weeks, they were creating these phone apps for mobile contact tracing. So, they learned from previous mistakes. They had pandemics before where the government didn't respond well. And so they were quite prepared this time. And the results are clear.
Now, their phone apps are probably similar to what Apple and Google are talking about with phone-to-phone connections, but there are privacy concerns. You worked in the White House. Do you think that the U.S. would accept that and could properly protect against the privacy invasion that this could represent?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. Undeniably, these sort of locator apps do raise privacy issues. They raise privacy issues in the United States. There was one Trump official that said Korea can do this because they're not a democracy. But this is a country where the people actually impeached the last president of the country. So they're very much a democracy. But there are clearly our privacy concerns with something like this. But it's a trade-off. On the one hand, these mobile apps and this mobile tracing provides a public good so that we all feel safer and more comfortable going out of our homes if we were to reopen our economy. And that's the key. The objective is to reopen after the peak. And if we don't have universal testing, right, as Debbie Dingell just said, and we don't have a vaccine, which is 18 months to 2 years away, all we're left with is contact tracing and social distancing. And so what these phone apps do is they give us a better handle on being able to do that, even though it means a temporary incursion of our privacy.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.